Hello, and welcome to A Coach Call Life. My name is Swami, and today I want to talk to you about the three phases of recovering from anxiety and related disorders like depersonalization and derealization. Um, to just give you a brief overview of these three stages, um, so these are the things that I have experienced myself, and the things that I have had my clients share with me. And when I look back and just at my own experience and what my clients went through, I see that they moved through like three different phases. Um, the first one being unconscious suffering. So in this state, people don't know what is going on with them. Or the other thing that's pretty common during this stage is that people are driven mostly by their instincts in how they react towards anxiety or things like depersonalization and derealization. So to give you a little bit of background, when I first started experiencing anxiety, this was many years ago, I did not know what was happening to me. Like I would wake up and just feel this sort of like impending doom and dread, and I had no idea what was going on with me. I thought it was like some kind of depression. I was really afraid that I was falling into this trap, but I knew that this was not quite what depression was like because I'd experienced depression before, and this was really distinct. So I didn't know what it was, and I would just like come home from work feeling exhausted and just feeling like a complete alien. Like I almost felt like I'd landed on this planet called Earth, but I was a complete alien. Like I still understood. Like I could go to work. I could like somehow muster up the concentration to do some work, but everything just like felt really weird and completely unreal at times. And it's the definition of uncanny is that something that is strange at the same time so familiar, and that's exactly how it describes my worldview at that time. And I did not understand what was going on with me. So at this time, what most people do is that they talk to people. They talk to a close friend or a relative, or they go get help from a trained therapist or a counselor. What in my case, what I started doing was I started going to Google, like most of you guys do, and I started like Googling my symptoms, and I found that what I was experiencing was chronic anxiety with episodes of depersonalization and derealization, and this was kind of like a relief to me, like that I am experiencing something that other people are also experiencing, but I was still mostly driven by my instincts of how to react to it. For example, whenever I felt anxious, I would just like clench up, I would tighten up, and I would try to either fight it or I would try to find a place to escape and just be by myself and be alone. You know, I did not know how to react to it, and this is what my instincts were telling me to do. And I believed that was the right thing to do, but I was suffering. In fact, my suffering kind of increased because I became hyper vigilant, and I was always trying to look to see if I'm going to have a panic attack or something like that. And it was like I was really, really frustrated. I became depressed. I became really overwhelmed. And living in another country, I didn't have a lot of people to turn to at that point in my life. So it was a really testing period in my life. And this is what I would call unconscious suffering, where one is just suffering and they don't know what to do. Like, they don't know what is going on with them. They feel like they're being tested, but they don't know what the test is or what the game is, you know. And slowly what happened to me was I started like reading more about anxiety. I started watching videos, and I started learning about like what's going on with me. And I found that anxiety was a result of a lot of stress in my life, and anxiety is a result of like certain chemical imbalances in me, and also like certain lifestyle decisions led me to the point where I started experiencing bouts of anxiety with depersonalization and derealization. So slowly I started putting these pictures together, I started putting the puzzle together and figured out, okay, I'm experiencing anxiety, But what do I do next? This fighting is not helping me. This running away is not helping me. So I eventually, like, I wouldn't even say eventually, like, just within a few weeks, I found out that the only way that I could find solace through this was through acceptance and even at times surrender to these feelings. Um, at first, it was like a scary experience of like just giving yourself to anxiety, of like accepting what you've been treating so far as like a hostile thing that's trying to like take over you. Um, I just felt like, oh, is this the right way to do it? But still, there was something inside of me that told me, like, that you need to just accept this and to the level that you're comfortable with, and just let it run its course through you. And so when I started doing that, I immediately noticed like some relief. Like, my anxiety didn't go away like, overnight. Like, but when I started not running away from my anxiety, when I immediately, like, instead of just running away, when I turned around and said, like, okay, just blow through me, like pass through me, I'm here, I surrender. Like, there was like an immediate relief that I felt, and I knew right away that this was how I was gonna get over my anxiety. you know so this phase, I would call, like, I am consciously suffering. This is like a phase of like you're still suffering, but you're conscious of like what to do and how to react. You're not really controlled by your instincts. I mean, your instincts still will tell you to run and hide and scream and worry and worry and worry, keep worrying every day. But there is something that's more than the instincts. There's what I call the higher mind. Some people will call it the prefrontal cortex, which actually is the human part of you, right? Which is what makes you human. And I started trusting the judgments of that part more and more. And what that part was telling me, that you cannot fight this. This is not a battle. This is just your body sending you a signal that something may be wrong, or something in your life is out of balance, and your body and your mind are reacting this way. But to actually listen to that signal, you need to accept these symptoms, at least for now. Like, turn around, stop running away, and start accepting these symptoms. So when I started doing that, my anxiety slowly started going down, and I kind of gained some confidence in life. Before, I would like really not want to go to work. I would just wake up, I would sit in the bus, I would just be feeling like dreadful. I'd be dreading, like, oh, what's going to happen today? What kind of thoughts am I going to get? What kind of feelings am I going to get? But like, when I started accepting them, I just told myself, like, I'm open to any thought or feeling. Like, it might be unpleasant, it might be scary, and that's all right. Like, I consciously choose to act in a certain way, which is acceptance and surrender to these feelings. And so slowly over time, I gained this courage and like confidence to face these feelings. And that really, really, guys, that radically changed my relationship to my anxiety. I no longer started seeing it as like hostile or my enemy. I see a lot of people like calling anxiety their enemy. I seriously did not see it like that, because when I actually, in my unconscious suffering phase, when I saw anxiety as hostile, it did not help. In fact, it only got worse. So I turned around and I did the opposite. I mean, I wasn't gonna go and like hug my anxiety and call it my best friend, but no, I just saw it as like a messenger. I saw it as like, okay, there's something wrong with my life. There's something out of balance. Maybe that's what the anxiety is trying to tell me. And so, to even before, like, even before I started listening to the anxiety, I had to accept the anxiety. I had to make it part of me, and I had to retrain my body to be like, this is okay. What you're experiencing is a very human reaction to a lot of stress in your life, and that's fine. So the moment I, like, uh, the minute I reframed my anxiety as something not hostile and something as a signal, it completely like changed the way that I started looking at it. Like, and it changed the way that my body and my mind automatically started reacting to it. Because when you're in the unconscious suffering phase, your body and your mind will always treat it as something hostile. But in the conscious suffering phase, you're trying to like turn around and you're trying to reframe these you're trying to override your instincts. Like, if your instincts are trying to tell you that this is something bad, this is a threat, get out of here, go hide, you're saying like, this is not a threat, this is just my body's way of telling me something's out of balance, so I'm gonna just stay here and accept and surrender to this feeling. So over time, I became more and more confident. I started going out more. Like, just like my old personality came back slowly at one, like it just sort of like a flower blooming in the morning. It started to happen slowly. There were times where like, the recovery was, I was going in like leaps and bounds. I was just like jumping from like one break to another in like video games. But there were other days where I completely fell down into the underground or whatever that is, and I had to start all over. And through in this conscious suffering phase, that's also something that I learned, is that there is setbacks. There will be setbacks in whatever, like, even if I felt like I've gained a lot of confidence, there might be days where I feel like completely, utterly destroyed. And that's fine too. And the more and more I saw of the cycle of like going up and going down, I started gaining more confidence. In fact, some people that I talk to like lose heart in feeling like, oh, I was feeling so good like 2 days ago, and now I'm feeling completely destroyed. What's going on? But the way that I saw was, okay, I had 2 days of freedom, and today I'm feeling like, not so good, but that's okay. Like, tomorrow it might be a new day, and tomorrow I might feel better. So the way that I started reframing this actually really helped me in making myself being more open to having these feelings and sensations again. And then slowly over time, what happened was I started having more and more good days and less of these so-called bad days. And even when I had a particularly challenging day, it was not as intense as how it was used to be. Like, it was still frustrating, but I wasn't scared. Like, I wasn't having that sinking feeling in my stomach. It was completely manageable. There were a couple of times, and there were like a couple of trigger scenarios for me, especially when I'm like in a tunnel, in the underground train. That still triggers me to this day. But everywhere else, like, I'm fine. Like, I was fine. I was able to like go do my job. I concentrated at work. I would hang out with friends and like, like just make jokes, and like, my personality started coming back. I could go on dates, and like, sometimes I would go on dates and I would feel anxious, and my palms would start to sweat. Not because I was a particularly nervous person in dates. It's just because it was someone new that did not know me, and so my anxiety would just like flare up. And then the more I tried to like push it down, the more I tried to follow my instincts of like trying to run and hide, the more I would start sweating and the more anxious that I would feel. But when I consciously choose to like ignore those instincts and instead tell myself like, my body is doing the right thing, it is trying to send me signals, and these are not hostile signals, I could almost like, guarantee that these feelings would subside. And then within like 2 minutes or 3 minutes, I would be like back chatting with this person and having a good time. So slowly, the second phase, the conscious suffering phase, transformed itself into a recovery phase, which is basically where you're getting your life back. Like, there will be days where you're still feeling tested, but you have built up so much confidence in yourself that it doesn't matter. Like, And in the recovery phase, like what happened to me personally was that I actually just became more mentally strong than before. Like in fact, I personally, I honestly feel that I'm a better person to this day because of my anxiety and my depersonalization. I'm more mentally strong. I'm also aware of other people's suffering, which is something like, in this modern world, we don't really care about that many people. We probably care about people who are close to us, but when we see someone on the street, like, just mentally struggling, like, we're conditioned to ignore them. But because of like what I went through, I started caring more about those people. Like, in fact, the reason that I'm a coach right now is because I want to help people. Like, I know how much people are struggling uh, with anxiety and depersonalization, and it's actually one of my biggest sources of meaning is helping other people somehow like get over this or come out of this through the other side. So yeah, that's it, guys. I just wanted to like give you hope and just hang in there, whatever phase you are at, whether you're at unconscious suffering or conscious suffering, or you're in the recovery phase. Just have hope. You're gonna get through this. This is not something hostile, right? Right? Just accept and surrender, and then listen to your body and your mind. There might be some imbalances in your life. You know, you might be stuck in a work that you don't like. You might be in a relationship that's not working out for you. So listen to those clues, and I'll probably have another episode just talking to you about how to interpret and listen to your body and mind, and figure out where those imbalances are. But before that, just know that these are not hostile feelings. Just accept and surrender at some times, and you'll do fine. You will eventually move into the recovery phase. All right. Okay. If you like this video, just give it a thumbs up. Like this video and share it with your friends. And if you want to engage with me, leave a comment below, and I'll do my best to reply to you. Okay. All right. Thank you.